Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In our culture, it is a custom to begin any program with the blessings of Lord Ganesha. Traditions and customs come from history, and that is what we all have gathered to celebrate today. So let's begin our program by praying to Lord Ganesha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. On behalf of Quantum Foundation and Deccan College Postgraduate and Research Institute, I cordially invite you to late Shri PRAKASHCHANDRA SURANA Historian Award 2026 ceremony. We are deeply honored to be joined today by several distinguished guests. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Prasad Joshi, Vice Chancellor, Deccan College, Postgraduate and Research Institute, who will preside over the program today. We have come together to honor historical excellence and recognize those who have made outstanding contributions to preservation of our heritage. History is more than just dates and timelines. It's about the stories that have shaped our culture and influenced our lives. Each event and person in history teaches us important lessons and connects us to our past. These stories show us the struggles and successes of those who came before us, helping us understand our values and where we come from. By exploring these narratives, we gain insight in our present and inspiration for future. I respectfully request that Dr. K. Padaya sir, Dr. Prasad Joshi sir, Dr. Pushpa Surana ma'am, Professor Sonal Kulkarni Joshi ma'am, Professor Shahida Ansari ma'am, Dr. Pratik Surana sir, Professor K.K. Muhammad sir, Anirudh Kanisetti sir to come and join us to light the lamp. The light from this lamp we have our Vice Chancellor sir, Prasad Joshi sir, Deccan College Postgraduate and Research Institute. We have our second chief guest, Pushpa Surana ma'am, who is the trustee of Quantum Foundation. Professor Sonal Kulkarni Joshi ma'am, Dean, Academic Coordinator and Head of Department of Linguistics, Deccan College. Professor Shahida Ansari ma'am, Head of Department AIHC and Archaeology, Deccan College Postgraduate and Research Institute. Dr. Pratik Surana sir, founder of the Quantum Info Trainers and Consultants Private Limited. We have Padma Shri K.K. Muhammad sir, which is our first awardee, and Mr. Anirudh Kanisetti sir, our second awardee. I request Sarika to felicitate Professor Prasad Joshi sir, Deccan College. I request Shreya to facilitate K. Padaya sir. I request Prachi to felicitate Professor Sonal Kulkarni, Joshi ma'am. I request Sagarika to felicitate KK Muhammad sir. I request Ishan to felicitate Anirudh Kanisetti sir. I also request Sarika to felicitate Zoge sir. He is the man behind all the program arranged here. I also request Sania ma'am to felicitate Sagarika, a team member from the Indic Compass. She is the another backbone of this program. Now I request Dr. Pratik Surana sir to come on stage and say a few words about Quantum Foundation.
Honorable KK Mohammed sir, Anirudh, Prasad Joshi sir, Honorable Padaya sir, Pushpa Surana ma'am, Sonal ma'am, Shahida ma'am, and my dear friends, it's been a privilege to be associated with Deccan College, and this year we are equally privileged to collaborate with the Indic Compass team, who has done a fabulous job in terms of organizing this event. This is 5th year of this award function, and I'm so glad that we could get in touch with two excellent awardees who have done immense contribution in the field of archaeology, history, and various sciences. Anirudh is an engineer. However, I am an engineering dropout. So this is closest to the engineering I ever could get. Apart from this, I'll tell you something about Project Dharohar. Quantum Foundation had started Project Dharohar in the memory of my father, PRAKASHCHANDRA SURANA, who was historian by choice and interest, may not be by education. Though he was a professor of history in Hingoli, so my friend Sunil Bhaiya is here, he would remember that most of our talks when he was alive would revolve around history and various historical facts. Okay, my father-in-law Prakash Khimsara and Kothari uncle, they would also remember that most of the talks were surrounded by all the history and history talks. I would like to tell you a few instances why history is important and what role it plays in our day-to-day lives. Last evening, I was sitting with a friend having a cup of coffee, and this friend works in a company which has its headquarters in Poland. And he just mentioned that the Polish Prime Minister is going to visit India, and there are chances that he might visit his company, but still there's not enough magnet for him to call here. I simply told him that ask your MD to tell the Polish Prime Minister's personal assistant or the person who's arranging his itinerary that the company in India is located just 235 kilometers near Kolhapur. He said, what's the connection between Kolhapur and Poland? I said, you are from Kolhapur, right? He said, yes. I said, don't you know He said, no. I said, do you know that in Kolhapur district there is a town called Valivde? Anybody has heard of this town Valivde? Yes. I mean, not on the dais. This was the question for the audience, by the way. All right, everybody in the at the dais would know definitely. So he said, not really. I said, do you know, you'd been to the company headquarters in Poland? He said, yes, Krakow is where the headquarters is. I said, did you travel to Warsaw? He said, yes, I did. I said, did you see around in Warsaw? He said, yes. I said, do you know that in Warsaw they have got a Kolhapur memorial? Now, this was the time he was stumped. This was last evening, okay? And he said, what's the connection? I said, do you know that Rajarshi Shahu Maharaj of Kolhapur had given refuge to more than 2,000 families from Poland who were displaced by Soviet attack on Poland during World War II between 1939 and 1942, if I'm not mistaken. And they lived there for generations together to the extent that they have got their cemetery, they've got their war memorial, everything made over there. I said, simply tell this, that the town that the Polish Prime Minister you want to visit is very near to Kolhapur and he definitely would come. This afternoon, I got a message from him saying that this worked. And there are chances that the Polish Prime Minister is going to visit the company headquarters. Now, what does this small incident tell us? We can connect the dots looking backwards, never forward. If we really want to understand the way we are, the roots are in history. And so, Disha had spoken about history and how cultural values are deeply rooted in history. I often train people on business cultures and cross culture. I think some of my colleagues who have been there with me for long would know that during 2002-2003 we had acquired a customer who was from Israel. And unlike most of the other customers that we had, by the way, Quantum Info Trainers and Consultants is a corporate training company. You'd seen those images in the Quantum Anthem. Okay, so we deliver corporate training programs. So one of the customers that we had acquired was headquartered in Israel. And this was for the first time that we had interacted with anybody from Israel. So everybody was a little cautious, anxious, etc. And the person who was front-facing this customer, he said, this customer, unlike all other customers of ours, is very aggressive. I said, yes, that's given. He said, what do you mean? I said, do you know the history of Israel, how it got created and how it survives today surrounded by a lot of enemy countries? That aggression comes from their history. Second factor that they said is, they're very suspicious. They do not believe in whatever we say. I said, have you heard of Mossad? Now, does that answer your question? Again, this was much easier for him to deal with this customer after we had given this historical perspectives. It's always important to know why a person behaves the way he or she does, or why a company's culture is the way it is, and the roots are often found in history. Long back when I was in 7th or 8th standard, okay, we four, me, my mother, father and my sister, four of us went to a place in Karnataka which was very unheard of then, called Badami. And I had heard that place for the first time. So my father said, are you not taught that there's something called Vatapi? And the Pandyan and Cheryans and Chalukyas and Cholas? I said, yeah, it was there, but it was only for 5 marks. Then he told me that this is not the way history has to be learnt. So the way history is to be taught is exactly the way how history is not to be taught these days. Some time back, when we went to Badami, I could connect the dots. And during those times, it was a very unplanned travel. It used to be more of an exploration, etc. And like an archaeologist, he would go to any monument, look at various images, symbols, etc., would try to make sense out of it, and then he would say that southern empires were even bigger than most of the northern empires. However, history has been written in a very north-centric and upper belt of Gangetic centric environment, and that is the reason why you have not heard of Chalukyas, Rashtrakuts, and Chairyas and Pandyans. Fast forward to 2018-19, when I visited Indonesia for the first time. Okay, I met somebody who was surprised that I know all the characters of Ramayana. He said, "How come in India do you know about it?" I said, "There's nothing to be surprised about, because we grew up watching Ramayana serial by Ramanand Sagar to start with. And then, of course, we went to Ramcharitmanas and various other scriptures." He said, "That cannot happen, because Rama was born here." I said, "Must be. I am wrong, and pardon me for my ignorance, but I believe that there is Balinese Ramayana that has a different version of it." And he mentioned that we have always been taught that Ramayana originated in Indonesia, and that is the reason why they call it Bharat, which is the direction called west, because in their west there is this direction called Bharat, which is Bharat. Apart from that, he was equally surprised that I know Nakul Sahdev, because according to him, Nakul chemist was the origin of the word Nakul, which is a very big pharmacy chain in Indonesia. And Garuda airline, we told him that we have many scriptures around Garud Puran, etc., etc. And he says, no, there's something wrong. We are the ones who actually own it. Now, to avoid any kind of further discussion, I simply said I agree, because I had my business interest to it, and closed it, agreeing to that. But while on my way back, I said that there are many misconceptions about history, and there's always a battle between history and pseudo-history, the things which come in various digital form with no basis these days. And people are unable to distinguish between history and pseudo-history. That's when I met Anirudh for the first time in Jaipur Literature Festival, spoke to him for a while, okay. And then I realized that most of his work is very much in South, and that's where we connected. And I further researched on his blogs, his history related posts, reels, etc. And then Sagarika, me, Shan, and Chinmay, if I'm not mistaken, 4 of us, so the young friends from the Indic Compass, okay. I have been calling them friends much before, okay, so this is not a newly invented term for me. And we agreed that we would do enough research on why it has been so north-centric and why we need to study history. This was where we conceptualized Project Dharohar, which has 3 elements: RIS, reward the people like Muhammad sir, Anirudh sir, Padayya sir, who have done excellent research in history. So we're fortunate to have 2 Padma Shri awardees on the stage today, out of which one I dragged him just few minutes before. Each time I would invite him on the stage, and each time he would prefer staying in the audience. Padayya sir. So this year onwards, now I guess the choices are going to change. All right. And we're going to listen to all of them. We're going to acknowledge the immense work that these people have done to the history. That's the reason why we could understand, study, and look at history the way we can. Second part is inspire. Go to various schools, colleges, uh, come up with history clubs where they would like to explore history than knowing it. Arrange their museum visits or their heritage walks and heritage site visits, uh, arrange lectures where students actually understand the history of various things. By the way, we have started with something called as history coffee talks, which is open to anybody and everybody. Each time we pick up a topic and we take up storytelling as a part of understanding history. So last time I delivered a session on history of crude oil, the one which is much talked these days, and something that drives the economy. So everything right from the coffee we drink to the oil, the crude oil, which defines the economy worldwide, so on and so forth, everything has roots somewhere else, and that is where the history comes. So history is much more than regimes, dynasties, wars, and it is more to do with what in the present form it is. Some time back, my son was asking me that he needs to transfer funds and why it is always associated with a bank account and not a Bitcoin wallet. I told him that we have seen the days when we had to take a token and stand in the bank queue to withdraw the funds, and he couldn't believe it. I said, why would you queue up when there's internet and you can transfer funds online? I said, banking has a history. Okay, Sunil Bhaiya would agree with me that present day banking is much more different than the way it has traveled and it opened up. And while researching, I came across that how the Traders Guild in the South were the first one to establish a bank. We're going to talk more on this. Third part is S, support, which is about supporting people who are studying, who are doing their research in history, their PhDs. So we are really glad that we have signed up an MOU with Deccan College, and this year we are going to give out the scholarship. Our first scholar is also going to be here, and we're going to unfold. So RIS put together is Project Dharohar, run by Quantum Foundation. Again, an appeal, please help us reach the wider audience. Anything that you feel is appropriate, we would be happy to receive as donation for the foundation. And anybody who would like to buy some books, okay, written by me, they are outside there about emotional well-being, you can buy, and that could also help the foundation in some way. So with that, this is all about Project Dharohar and Quantum Foundation. I'll leave you with Disha and the guests further. Thank you.
Before moving forward, I would request Sagarika to felicitate Dr. Shahida Ansari ma'am, Head of Department, Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology, Deccan College, Postgraduate and Research Institute. Encouraging research and supporting young scholars are essential steps towards advancing knowledge and preserving our rich cultural heritage. With this vision, the Quantum Scholarship 2026-27 has been instituted to support outstanding research in the field of ancient Indian history, culture and archaeology. This year, the scholarship is being awarded to Mr. Sujay Khalate in support of his PhD research on his approved research topic. May I now request Mr. Sujay Khalate to kindly come forward and receive the scholarship. And I also request Mrs. Surana to graciously present the Quantum Scholarship 2026-27 to him. Now I would like to invite Dr. Prasad Joshi sir to come up on stage and share a few words with us.
Namaskar. Very good afternoon to all of you. Very respectable Dr. K. Muhammad, Professor Padaya, our young historian who is going to be felicitated today, Anirudh Kanisetti, Shri Pratik Surana, who is heading the Quantum Foundation, the trustee of the foundation, Pushpatai Surana, my colleagues and dear friends. 27 July for past years, 5 years, we are celebrating with a different gesture. Actually, Deccan College is the place which has made significant contribution to the field of heritage study. And in tune with that, when Pratik Surana ji came here and introduced himself, his passion for history, and requested the college that there should be one function annually organized here in memory of his father PRAKASHCHANDRA SURANA, from whom the entire family has got inspiration for the preservation of history and heritage of our country. Just now we listened to various activities under the umbrella of quantum that Surana sir is leading. We can understand that in every aspect probably he can say history, right? From crude oil to banking, nobody could think of that. So there is history in each and everything around us. That is the message from his talk. That's what I can understand. So we welcome this idea, and we are very happy that for past 5 years we are getting this important opportunity to felicitate two scholars of history. One who has devoted himself for the history his entire life and made significant contributions to the heritage study, from whom we can get inspiration. So this is the fitting reward for lifelong achievement for a senior scholar. Similarly, there should be generation to come who can contribute to the heritage study. For that encouragement, there has to be something from the Quantum Foundation, and in that way there is another junior scholar who is interested, who would devote himself for history, archaeology and heritage study in general. So these are the two aspects of this foundation, to felicitate two scholars, one very senior and another very junior. So it gaps, that's what he said, that linking the dots. So senior scholar and junior scholar, that is the continuity which he probably wanted to suggest through his award ceremony also. So we are thankful to the Quantum Foundation for associationship with Deccan College for last 5 years. Second aspect of this MOU with the foundation is that the foundation always behind us to support the PhD students. Probably for some technical reasons we could not have it before, but this is the first year probably from whence we are going to encourage PhD students of any department of under this three verticals of this college, taking history component in the PhD study. Maybe language, there is also historical approach to the study of language. There can be historical approach to the literary study of Sanskrit and other languages, and of course archaeology is there. So any student who is opting for PhD and taking some topic which has component of history will be encouraged with the scholarship of Quantum Foundation. So this is another aspect for students' progression, student support that we are receiving from Quantum Foundation. So on behalf of Deccan College, I am thankful to the foundation, and we hope that this association continues time to time and it grows in strength every year. So we are looking forward for more support from such NGOs and foundations who can do much better than fully depending on government schemes. So we encourage this kind of collaborations, linkages with other foundations on similar ideas, similar grounds working. Today we are equally happy, we feel ourselves actually honored by gracious presence of K. Muhammad sir here. I know that he He's a frequent visitor to Deccan College and he has been with us on many occasions. But today it is a special occasion. It is one of the special occasions here, and he made it a point to visit Deccan College. His contribution to the field of heritage study, conservation, temple architecture. I'm actually stranger to all this field, but everybody knows it. It hardly needs any repetition here. So thanks and welcome Professor Muhammad sir from Deccan College. And also I equally would like to extend cordial welcome to Aniruddha, who is young and engineering background, but still devoting himself to the study of history. So we would like to extend our cordial welcome, warm welcome, and thanks to both the scholars, one junior historian and very senior and authentic senior scholar here for being with us for this evening. I am thankful to Professor Padaya. Actually, Pratikji rightly said that he doesn't want to come on the stage, but he is always behind us and supporting in many ways. So I express great thanks towards Professor K. Padaya. The organization of any event is very important and somebody has to shoulder the responsibilities. I must appreciate the efforts taken by our faculty, Shri Gopal Zoge, who is an archaeologist and working in the field of temple architecture. So actually he is always taking these programs or activities of foundation ahead. So thanks to Zoge sir, thanks to the head of the Department of Archaeology and Dean of the Faculty. With these few words I would like to stop here because I must honor the limits of time because we want to listen to the authorities on history and heritage. Thanks all.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Shahida Ansari ma'am to come up and share some words.
Good afternoon, respected sir, our Vice Chancellor Professor Prasad Joshi, K.K. Mohammed sir, you are here with us. We are so happy to to get in touch with you after a long time. It has been 2011 when you had taught me in Sanchi, Stoke. We were doing this structural conservation course, and sir taught us about the importance of a replica museum at that particular time. And sir also told us about how he came to know about this Bateshwar. He was sharing this information that he was getting this vision or dreams about certain kind of temples, and he could come to get connected to this place in Morena where these quarries were being by the quarry people. They were destroying this group of temple which was there at Bateshwar, and that is how, sir, I know you. And also we know you because you are a great historian, you are a Padma Shri. And sir, on behalf of the Department of AIHC and Archaeology, sir, we are very happy to receive you here. And also Padaya sir is here with us. And Aniruddha, you are also one of our digital historian awards. So the procedure is that we come to know through Gopal that so and so are there, and we have to, okay it, like, who will be this new digital historian. So we do look into we know about your capabilities. Aniruddha, you are so smart. You're you are there all over the YouTube and in the digital media. Congratulations for that. And Madam Surana is there, our Dean, Professor Sonal Kulkarni Joshi. The only observation I can give today is that we all do archaeology, we are historians, But there is a kind of a responsibility from us, and that is well represented by the work of Muhammad sir. So he has put it in the ground level, he has reached it to the surface level, he has reached towards the people through museums, through his hard work, his research at Bateshwar, and many, many more. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
थैंक यू मैम. नहीं लगा सकते इनके कद का अंदाज़ा, नहीं लगा सकते इनके कद का अंदाज़ा, ये आसमान है फिर भी सर झुकाए बैठे हैं. These lines beautifully capture the essence of a personality whose towering achievements are matched one by their humility. And now we arrive at the most anticipated moment of today's ceremony, the presentation of the late Shri Prakashchandra Surana Historian Award 2026. Now I am going to read the Manapatra that Quantum Foundation is presenting to Shri K.K. Muhammad sir. Presented to Shri K.K. Muhammad. Shri K.K. Muhammad, former Regional Director, North of the Archaeological Survey of India, is one of the India's most distinguished archaeologists and heritage conservationists. With over 4 decades of dedicated service, he has made remarkable contribution to archaeological excavation, conservation of historic monuments, and the preservation of India's rich cultural legacy. His pioneering work includes the discovery of the Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri, excavation of important Buddhist sites such as Kesariya, Vaishali, and Rajgir, and conservation of numerous World Heritage monuments including the Taj Mahal, Humayun's tomb, Qutub Minar, Red Fort, and the churches of Old Goa. Shri K.K. Muhammad is widely admired for undertaking some of the country's most challenging conservation projects. He successfully restored the historic temples of Bateshwar in Chambal Valley with the cooperation of local decades, conserved temples in Nakshal-affected regions of Chhattisgarh, and led the restoration of 46 national monuments ahead of the Commonwealth Games 2010. His efforts have earned several national and international honors, including the SARC Environmental Award, multiple National Tourism Awards, and the Rajiv Gandhi Global Excellence Award. Beyond archaeology, Shri K.K. Muhammad has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to society through initiatives such as establishing some slum schools for children working around heritage sites and promoting public awareness of India's civilizational heritage through his writings and lectures. His acclaimed book, An Indian I Am, reflects his lifelong dedication to India's pluralistic cultural traditions and has been translated into several Indian languages. Quantum Foundation proudly recognizes his extraordinary contribution to Indian archaeology, heritage conservation, and historical scholarship by presenting the late Shri Prakashchandra Surana Senior Historian Award 2026 on this 27th day of July 2026. His exemplary life and work continue to inspire generations to preserve, appreciate, and celebrate India's invaluable cultural heritage. Presented by Quantum Foundation in collaboration with Deccan College, Pune. I request Professor K. Padaya sir to come forward and present the valedictory and our Senior Historian Award to sir for his significant contribution to history. Congratulations, sir. I now request you to say a few words and share your thoughts with us.
Honorable Vice Chancellor Shri Professor Prasad Joshi sir, Honorable Professor Padaya sir, the moving spirit and guiding beam of the whole program, Pradeek sir, we have the young historian Anirudh Kanisetti, Mrs. Surana, Madam. We have Joshi, Madam. Joshi or Kulkarni here? Yes. Yes, yes. We have with us Ansari, Madam. And apart from this one, there is a distinguished galaxy of people here. And one of my own very close person, Mrs. वीणा रामन जी इज हियर. रामन जी थोड़ा सा अगर आप उठ के खड़े हो जाएंगे तो मेरे ख्याल में there is a special reason for introducing her, because while I was working in Madhya Pradesh, because Madam was in tourism department, I was in archaeology, because both of them go together. So I had a special problem. That was in Bateshwar. Bateshwar is in Chhattisgarh. In Chambal area. Chambal means almost 5,000 kilometers of area in between Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. There you have some of the dacoits in that area. So without getting express permission from those people, it's very difficult to work in all those areas. So Madam's husband, Vijay Raman sir, IPS, a very senior police official, very senior police officer. It was he who had shot dead Pan Singh Tomar. Now there is a film also on Pan Singh Tomar. And not only that, it was he who had shot dead Ghazi Baba. You might have forgotten who is Ghazi Baba. Ghazi Baba was that person who was the mastermind behind bombing our Parliament House in 2001. It was he who had shot dead. So I spoke to Madam, can I have a discussion with Vijay Raman sir, because he was such an important person, and I did not want to have only 10 minutes or 15 minutes discussion with him. I wanted to present my problem also and a solution also for that problem. So Madam helped me, and I went to sir, and then he helped me in getting into the network of the dacoits. Otherwise it was an impossible task. So dacoits means you have Mansingh. Once upon a time, not during my period, once upon a time Mansingh was there, who had killed 132 persons. And out of them 32 were police forces. Mohar Singh had killed 78 people. Malkan Singh 70. These were the record of the persons. Poolan Devi, you all know. On a single day she had killed 22 persons. So in order to get into a network of all those people, and simply for getting permission for working in that area, it was Madam who had helped me. And sir has also written a book, Did I Do All These Things? It is the history of an outstanding person who has carried out hundreds of work, and especially challenging the dacoits and also the terrorists of Pakistan and other people. So that is why I introduced Madam, and fortunately Madam is here also. Here is settled in Pune itself. So we have that galaxy of people here. And I am really, because as an archaeologist, we had very difficult tasks sometimes. When there was a reference about this particular award, I was just had some reservation, because because nowadays awards are being given by either by the leftist extremist group or by the rightist extremist group. I don't belong to any of this group, although on Ayodhya and other things we had certain opinion that is purely on the basis of the archaeological facts, not because of any other things. So I discreetly inquired whether it is part of any party or part of any agenda or not. And I was assured it's not part of any kind of agenda, because earlier I had refused to accept this fund, two such very big awards with a big this one with funding also, because it was attached to certain groups. So then when I received this thing, then I said, of course it would be a great honor, especially to receive an award from which is instituted by Quantum Foundation in the name of late PRAKASHCHANDra Surana sir, who was of course an historian, and at the same time he was in building profession also. So receiving an award from in the name of such a great person, without any kind of attachment, because otherwise the awards are based on the basis of certain attachments. So without any attachment, so it is something a great honor, and I accept this, sir, with all honor. I am of course humbled, because it is a great honor, and I receive it with all humility from you people, and especially Padaya sir. So Padaya sir has been a great teacher for all of us, generations of teachers. And receiving an award of this kind in the hall of Deccan College, Pune, where the great illustrious people, great illustrious archaeologists. So we have got a number of archaeologists from here, because it was the breeding ground, I should say, was archaeologists. Sangalya Sahab, Dev Sahab, Mishra Sahab, Ansari Sahab, and many other people, and late Padaya Sahab, Shinde Sahab, and all of these people are eminent teachers also, who have done wonderful work in various fields of archaeology. And me, I have been not only working on archaeology, I had the privilege of excavating Ibadat Khana. Ibadat Khana was the place where Akbar had invited people from all the religions, and ultimately he evolved a new religion known as Deen-e-Ilahi. I could identify a mount, and then on the basis of a Mughal painting which was made during the lifetime of Akbar, I could prove that this was the real Ibadat Khana. And then Akbar had built a small Christian chapel also. The present dispensation may not be very kind to Akbar, who was a very liberal person, but he was, by any yardstick, he was one of the greatest emperors of that period. Because in England you had Queen Elizabeth at that time. In Spain, Philip II was the king. And then Murad was in Turkey. Shah Abbas was in Persia. Wanli was in China. When all these people were there, great people of course, Akbar was the greatest among all of them. So I had the privilege of excavating Ibadat Khana and the Christian chapel also, and also conserving some of the most important temples which had fallen down in a huge earthquake. That was, I am talking about the Bateshwar temples. So far we have been able to reconstruct near about 80 temples, and for which when the government was lacking a very big philanthropist, and she is an industrialist also, Sudha Narayan Murthy of Infosys. She came forward, she gave us 4 crores of rupees for the conservation of few of the temples, and with the help we have been able to reconstruct all those temples also. And now she has devoted her time and money also. Now it is for the Hampi project. In Hampi there are 2-3 bazaars are there. Virupaksha Bazaar is there, the Pansupari Bazaar is there. It is in a very pitiable condition. If the government wanted, they could do a lot of things. But of course, archaeology, history, heritage, although they may speak much about this Gauravshali areas, we had such a heritage and other things, But when it comes to the practice, they are far behind, lagging behind. So what we have to do is, we as a general citizens, we have to take up the issue of heritage. If heritage is marketed properly, it can create wonders not only for our proud heritage, but also as a revenue earning business also. So the government should realize the importance of it, and for that it is the duty of all of us to pursue it and work as a pressure group. So thank you all, thank you very much, sir, and especially for giving this award, because this gives us more energy to do further. And thank you all, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your innovative approach will inspire countless young minds and reshape how we view historical education. Moving forward, I am about to read the Manapatra that Quantum Foundation is offering to Anirudh Kanisetti, sir. Presented to Shri Anirudh Kanisetti. Shri Anirudh Kanisetti is a distinguished public historian, author and researcher whose work has significantly enriched the understanding of ancient and early medieval South India. Through meticulous research based on epigraphy, archaeology, art history, and literary sources, he has reconstructed the political, commercial, and cultural landscapes of Deccan and the Chola world, bringing India's rich historical tradition to a wider audience. His acclaimed books, Lords of the Deccan and Lords of Earth and Sea, have been widely recognized for their scholarly depth and engaging narrative, earning prestigious literary honors and establishing him as one of India's leading young historians. Beyond his contributions as an author, Shri Kanisetti has played an important role in advancing historical scholarship through his work with institutions such as MAP Academy, the Deccan Heritage Foundation, and the Takshashila Institution. His research has been supported by renowned organizations including Princeton University, the India Foundation for the Arts, and the Museum of Art and Photography, Bangalore. Through his writings, lectures, podcasts, and collaborations with international platforms such as BBC and Art, he has made rigorous historical research accessible to diverse audiences while encouraging a deeper appreciation of India's cultural and archaeological heritages. Quantum Foundation proudly recognizes his exceptional contribution to research, public history, and the dissemination of India's rich civilizational legacy by presenting the late Shri PRAKASHCHANDRA SURANA Digital Historian Award 2026 on this 27th day of July 2026. His work continues to inspire young scholars and history enthusiasts to explore India's past with intellectual curiosity, academic rigor, and an enduring commitment to historical truth. Presented by Quantum Foundation in collaboration with Deccan College, Pune. I request Mrs. Pushpa Surana ma'am to come forward and present the valedictory and our digital history.
Very good evening to you all. Thank you, Professor Joshi, for having me here at Deccan College. And my warmest regards, of course, to Professor K.K. Muhammad. It's such an honor to be on the same stage receiving an award from the same foundation as you are, sir. Thank you, of course, also to Professor Joshi Kulkarni, to Dr. Surana, to Mrs. Surana, to Professor Padaya Garu, and to Professor Ansari. I wish I could start this little talk with a story of dacoits in the Chambal Valley, but unfortunately, I can't claim to have had any such exciting experiences so far. Instead, I'd like to explain a little bit about how an engineer ends up writing about history, how and why an engineer ends up writing about history. If you had asked me when I was age 10 what I wanted to be, I would have said I wanted to be a paleontologist. If you asked me at the age of 15, having been subject to a good amount of Telugu brainwashing, with no disrespect to the good Telugus on stage, I would have told you I wanted to be the next Satya Nadella. But all of these ideas came into a very quick collision with reality when I began engineering. And I very quickly realized that for all my great aspirations, I couldn't do maths to save my life. In my second year of college, when I was in Kolkata for an internship, it was one of these old public sector railway manufacturing facilities that had their own ways of doing things. They didn't really need an intern coming in and messing with their systems. So I had an awful lot of free time in Kolkata. So I did two things. This was back in the days when I realize I'm a little young to be saying back in the day, but such are the times. This is when Flipkart was still starting out in India, and you could just order books and then refund it within 2 days. So I read a number of books, many by William Dalrymple. I took full advantage of being in Kolkata, one of the great birthplaces of Indian archaeology. So I visited the Indian Museum fairly frequently, and one fine day when I was in the coin gallery, my terrible knowledge of mathematics finally came to be useful, because while I couldn't solve a sum to save my life, what I could do was read the Greek letters, and that meant that when I was looking at a coin of Alexander the Great, I could read Alexandros Megas, and suddenly in that moment, I was struck by this, what is probably a very banal realization, but that all these names that one comes across in the textbooks and the history books, these are all things and people who actually lived. There was actually this guy who was born in Greece, rampaged across half the world, ended up, actually fighting some guy in Punjab, and then died horribly in Iraq after a heavy bout of alcoholism. And there's just one among thousands upon thousands of incredible lives that have lived and shaped the subcontinent that you and I all live in and breathe in. And from that point onwards, I increasingly seriously began to indulge my passion for history. Of course, to begin with, it wasn't necessarily through reading the works of the great professors. It was by playing video games. Mostly Western video games, as it happens, where you play as a Roman general and conquer the world and whatnot. Gradually, I came across a more complex economic simulation where you start playing as any country in the world in 1444 and it ends in 1821. And being a South Indian, I played as Vijayanagara and I colonized Australia and all that kind of funny business. But it also really got me thinking about the multidisciplinarity of historical studies as a discipline. And so eventually, when the time came for me to get into history podcasting, to write my first book, I was insistent that the story that I would tell did two things. The first was that I would rigorously and comprehensively engage with the work of the great archaeologists, with the work of the art historians, with the work of the iconographic experts. And also that this had to be a book that communicated with the average person. If I had read this, I wanted to write the book that I wish I could have read before when I was in college, right? And to my great surprise, it actually worked. and people actually read it. And I'm lucky enough to stand here in front of all of you talking about this. But what I must say is that at a more fundamental level, I firmly believe that this award, the idea of public history, the discipline of public history, it belongs to all of you. I would not be here if not for the work of decades of great archaeologists and historians. And just to respond to one of the ideas that Dr. Muhammad floated, Dr. Muhammad mentioned that governments don't really have the willpower to invest in archaeology, to invest in conservation. And this actually ties to a point that Pratik had in passing about the proliferation of pseudo-history, right? The tragedy of pseudo-history is that while it's very politically profitable, while it spreads virally, while it gets people angry and worked up, it doesn't inculcate any respect for the actual discipline of history. As a result, governments think that history is something that they can just brandish to get votes for, but not something that they have to seriously invest in right from the level of the university and the academy. It begins here, academic freedom, from academic freedom all the way up to having a thriving ecosystem of documentaries, of films, and of course of video games. These are all ways to bring young people into the discipline. And personally, I have been waiting since the day my book was published to get a call from an Indian documentary producer, from a National Geographic, from a History Channel, to talk about history, but that hasn't happened yet. I'm still waiting. The BBC and the French national broadcaster have, but I'm still waiting for the Indian broadcasters to get in touch. The only ones who reached out to me wanted me to talk about the mysteries of the Vijayanagara Empire. And I told them that, look, I can't talk about the mysteries because the archaeologists have actually solved a lot of this, and I never heard back from them again. Just to conclude, I would like to say that history is grander than any ideology that we seek to fit it into today. And as I stand here, being in a sense a part of the future of the discipline, I also see before me the future of the discipline sitting here in the audience. So let me end by extending my very best wishes to all of you students, enthusiasts, readers in the audience. Thank you once again to the Quantum Foundation for the award. Thank you.
It is an indeed to honor and listen to you, sir. I request Dr. Sonal Kulkarni Joshi to share a few words with us.
Good evening, everyone. After having heard such, two very senior historians, and when a third very senior archaeologist is waiting to be heard by the audience, it doesn't really feel right to be talking in between. But as someone who has witnessed this journey of Quantum Foundation and Deccan College, I would just like to express that my happiness, a pleasure to be a part of this occasion, this celebration. And I'm with good wishes for the continuation of this collaboration. I would like to stop here and request the compare to invite Professor Padaya, who I think we would be happier to listen to. Thank you.
I would like Padaya sir to share some words. Yes.
Namaskar to all of you. I am reminded of one thing. I think right from the very beginning, Deccan College received philanthropy in a very, very big way. We go back to 1821. It was the Dakshina Fund of the Peshwas which created Hindu College, the nucleus of present-day Deccan College. That was because of the efforts of the first presidency governor, Mount Stuart Elphinstone. And Hindu College was created in 1821 basically to promote ancient Indian learning. And then another major philanthropic effort took place. That was in 1864, and here comes into the picture Sir Jamshedji Jijibai, the second baronet. It was because of his donation of 1,25,000 rupees in 1864. The old building of Deccan College came up, and of course there was matching grant from the presidency government, and that was another philanthropic effort. And then in 1950s came the Rockefeller Foundation, and it was because of the efforts of Rockefeller Foundation, linguistics as an academic subject came up. And Professor Sonal Kulkarni will tell you later on more about the efforts made by the Rockefeller Foundation. And then I remember it was sometime in 1980s, Ford Foundation came forward, and it was because of the efforts of Ford Foundation, Deccan College felt the impact of computerization. See, now we have another major philanthropic effort coming to the rescue of Deccan College, and with particular reference to the promotion of historical consciousness. And we really appreciate that the Surana family established this quantum foundation to perpetuate the memory of late Professor PRAKASHCHANDRA SURANA ji, a great historian. And I know that for the last at least 5-6 years, Quantum Foundation has been giving us this philanthropic effort, and earlier scholars like Professor Raja Dikshit and Kurush Dalal were given these awards, and this year the awards have gone to very fitting persons, and Padma Shri K.K. Muhammad, and as you have heard, he was in the Archaeological Survey of India. Many of the government servants, officers do job, but in a very mechanical way. But I think Dr. Muhammad was one person who put in his heart into the matter, and the contributions which he made to the discovery of monuments, to the conservation of monuments, to the preservation of monuments, and sometimes going against the prevailing views, giving new meanings to the monuments. And I think this is something very, very remarkable, and very fittingly and very justifiably the government of India recognized his monumental efforts. I would say he's a man of monuments, but his efforts are equally monumental, and it was in recognition of his monumental efforts towards the preservation, discovery, and conservation of monuments. He was awarded Padma Shri by the government of India, and I did not have a chance to congratulate him when he got this award, but today I have an opportunity to congratulate him in a double way, and for receiving this new award established by the Quantum Foundation. And of course we are really grateful to the Quantum Foundation for initiating these awards, and this is the the Senior Archaeologist Award. And then of course we have the second award, Digital Historian Award. And I think this is something very, very important. For a long time, those of us who are in history, archaeology, and heritage studies in general, we have been feeling that these studies are the exclusive prerogative of the academics. And this really sounds very, foolhardy and foolish and meaningless, you see. And what is after all history, and what is heritage studies? What is heritage? And heritage, history, these are of the people. These are not of the academicians, these are of the people. And ultimately, I mean, knowledge of history and heritage, it has to go back to the people. But what efforts academicians themselves have been making towards this end, towards promoting dissemination of knowledge about the past to the people in the return. I think the efforts have been very, very minimal, and most of the historians, archaeologists, they take pleasure in, I mean, publicizing their research output, and we have a number of illustration volumes, so on and so forth, and I mean, claiming that they have they have done this much, they have done that much, but then they forget the people at large. And I think, of course, Deccan College has done its best thanks to the foundational efforts of the founder of this department, my revered guru, the late Professor Sankalia, and his successors, Professor S.B. Dev and Professor Davlekar, Dr. Mishra, and of course, even from other departments, the late Iravati Karve, Professor Iravati Karve, and even from linguistics, and Professor S.M. Katre, and Professor A.R. Kelkar, and others, we have done our best, to promote and to disseminate the consciousness of our heritage to the society at large. But and of course, these efforts are still continuing, and only I think yesterday or the day before, probably on Saturday, and there were 50 school teachers who were here. I mean, had you been there on Saturday, you would have been astounded to see school teachers, and going around, and we conduct one day school teacher workshops, see, and tell them about history, archaeology, and these school teachers in turn bring busloads of their own students, and so we have been doing I think a wonderful job in disseminating sense of history, sense of heritage to the society at large. But then our efforts, when these are being complemented by other institutions, it's most welcome. And it is here, I mean, the Quantum Foundation's efforts ought to be appreciated. And what is important, what I really want to tell is that in the disseminating this sense of history, sense of heritage to the society at large, other, I mean, people are also engaged. And of late, I think there have been a good number of popular books, and now this is the age of digitization, and it is here, the contributions made by our young friend Anirudh, I mean, they are very, very important, and I congratulate him for receiving this award. And he has mentioned that he has done some works. I would like to have a look at some of his works, and probably learn from them how we can do our job much better. That is one of disseminating the messages coming from the past to the society at large. See, I mean, we always talk about, Bharata Mata, and very nice, very graceful female, figure is there. But actually, what is India? What is India without people? And our young friend Anirudh will remember that we had one very famous Telugu poet, writer in Andhra Pradesh, Gurujad Apparao, and he said, what is country? Deshamante matti kaadu, deshamante manusulu. Country is not of land and soils and minerals. Country is of people, you see. And without people there is no India, See, when we think of Bharata Mata, we may have a nice female figure, but the real thing is, it is people who constitute the country. And this is where the very first, the line of our preamble comes into the picture. We, the people of India, give ourselves the constitution. Nobody has given. Baba Sahib Ambedkar and others may have contributed in writing it, but it is the people who have given themselves the constitution. That's where the constitution becomes, much more than Bhagavad Gita or any other text. See, and that's where that is the real punchline. So, and it's so if we follow this line of thinking, it is so very, very important that what we do in the name of study of heritage past, the messages ultimately have to go back to the society at large. And please remember this, the society in India is something very, very unique. And we hear, there are other ancient civilizations like, Greece and Italy, and then Mesopotamian civilization, Egyptian civilization. But what we hear now is the modern countries of Greece, Italy, Iraq, Iran, and Egypt. The present day societies, they hardly remember their past. There is not much in the present, there is not much from the past running into the present bloodstream. But what about India? In every Indian, whether he is a Hindu, whether he is a Jain, whether he is a Muslim, whether he is a Buddhist, whether he is a tribal for that matter. Tribal is not a good word, but I think there is Janajati, I think there is the word. In every Indian, there is a sense of the past. How they have acquired it, how they use it. Unfortunately, we historians and archaeologists have done very little work, to understand and get the feedback from the society as to what is their sense of the past, and each one of them has a sense of the past. How they have got it, how they are using it. Unfortunately, the sociological investigations of the past has hardly taken place. In fact, this is one of the desiderata of heritage studies in the whole country. And I hope, institutions like Deccan College will, sort of play a lead role once again. And I am sure in this effort, the efforts of private agencies like Quantum Foundation also would be there. Probably next time, I congratulate our young friend who have received the Quantum Foundation scholarship, and I do pray and I do hope that next time when the Quantum Foundation is thinking of enlarging the compass of their work, they would like to create a scholarship for a doctoral study which involves sociological investigations of the use of the past in the society. So the sociological investigation of the uses of the past in the society, in fact, it is an equally important job. And I hope we in the country, whether in the universities, whether in the Archaeological Survey of India, or the state departments, realize this, and so that many of the unnecessary antagonisms, many of the unnecessary rifts, unnecessary conflicts which are created in the name of the past will automatically come. Once you listen to the common sense understanding, the common sense understanding of the past among the common people is very, very robust, is very, very objective, is very, very critical. Once we listen to that, we will be able to correct ourselves, and we will, we will not, look at the past in any parochial way. And I think this is something very, very important, and I am sure private agencies like Quantum Foundation will come forward again in these efforts. And with these few words, I would like to congratulate the Quantum Foundation for its wonderful efforts, to promote the sense of the past, historical consciousness. And of course, I would like to congratulate my friend Padma Shri K.K. Muhammad for receiving this new award, and I would like to congratulate equally my young friend Anirudh for receiving this digital historian award. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Ms. Sagarika Razurkar, the founder of the Indic Compass, to come and share a few thoughts with us.
Thank you, Disha. My sincere apologies for an impromptu entry on the dais, but I had not to miss this opportunity of addressing such a distinguished guests on dais and a wide audience here. The Indic Compass has been mentioned continuously throughout the program, and there wouldn't be a better opportunity for me to officially introduce the guests as well as the audience to what the Indic Compass exactly is. वयानी थोडी लहान आहे पण मोठ्या पावली येते कारण I myself am a student of current pursuing student of the Deccan College, and it's an immense privilege to stand here beside such a distinguished guests on dais and address the audience. To be precise, the Indic Compass is a youth-led heritage startup started by students of history and archaeology last year. That's on 27th of August. And we are yet to complete a year, but the kind of response and support that we have gained in past 1 year is unimaginable. Our HOD ma'am was already aware of the Indic Compass, but I had to take this opportunity to introduce it to the other distinguished audience present here. Indic Compass had been in an association with Padma Shri K.K. Mohammed sir for past 1 year, and he has been a continuous supporter and a great mentor to us. That today we are able to host him here at my college, that is Deccan College. Apart from that, we have been receiving a great support from ASI Mumbai Circle as well as MTDC from past 1 year. The topic that I wanted to address here is that, as everyone mentioned rightly in their speech, in their address, that what India genuinely lacks is a sense of heritage consciousness. And Indic Compass came up with this idea. Indic Compass was incepted with this idea of awakening heritage consciousness. We are on this track, and it's been a year into this, and the kind of response, support that we have gained is unimaginable. Of course, let me take this opportunity to congratulate Quantum Foundation for the efforts they have been taking into this field for past several years, and we are grateful to everyone who has been a part of this journey so far. I'm very young in age, so I can't congratulate the distinguished or the eminent awardees of this award, but let me extend gratitude to them for being here and letting us an opportunity to host them here. Apart from that, thank you all for joining, and that is it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Sagarika. As this aspiring evening comes to a close, I would like to invite Mrs. Pushpa Surana to deliver the vote of thanks.
नमस्कार. प्रत्येक कार्यक्रम का सबसे आखिरी पार्ट होता है वोट ऑफ थैंक्स. वोट ऑफ थैंक्स के बगैर कोई कार्यक्रम पूरा ही नहीं होता. इसीलिए मैं आप सभी के समक्ष उपस्थित हूँ. क्वांटम फाउंडेशन की ओर से सभी उपस्थितों का आभार प्रकट करना चाहती हूँ. सर्वप्रथम डेक्कन कॉलेज के सम्माननीय कुलगुरु श्री प्रसाद जी जोशी, प्रोफेसर सोनल जी जोशी, गोपाल जोगे जी तथा सारे सम्माननीय व्याख्यातागण एवं कर्मचारियों का आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, जिन्होंने क्वांटम फाउंडेशन के साथ सामंजस्य करार के अंतर्गत हमारी विनती को मान देते हुए ये हॉल उपलब्ध कराया और फेलोशिप कार्यक्रम को मंजूरी दी. मैं विशेष तौर पर सम्माननीय पद्मश्री श्री के जी मोहम्मद और श्री अनिरुद्ध कलसेट्टी जी तथा पद्मश्री श्री पदैया गारो क्योंकि उनको गारू बोलने में आज इस तरह इतनी खुशी हो रही है, क्योंकि उन्होंने आते ही मेरे से तेलुगु में पूछा कनिशेट्टी जी ने और उन्होंने कि बागुन्नवा, तो मैंने कहा बागुन्नदी। इतने सालों बाद मुझे तेलुगु सुनकर बहुत अच्छा लगा, इसलिए और उन्होंने हमारे विनती को मान देकर इस पुरस्कार को स्वीकार किया और हमारा सम्मान बढ़ाया, इसलिए मैं उनका आभार प्रकट करती हूँ। मैं क्वांटम के सारे सदस्यगणों का विशेषकर प्राची जिंतूरकर, सानिया प्रभुने जी, श्रेया गाडगे, सारिका दलवी, कुणाल चौहान और इंडिक कंपस टीम की सागरिका तथा ईशान, और अगर मैं किसी का नाम भूल रही हूँ तो वापस उसके लिए भी, सभी का जिन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम के आयोजन करने में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई है, मैं उन सभी का आभार प्रकट करती हूँ। मैं आप सभी उपस्थित परिवारगण अर्थात श्री खिंसरा जी, श्री कोठारी जी और मेरे हिंगोली से आए हुए श्री सुनील जी देवड़ा और शीला देवड़ा, जो कि एक परिवार ही हैं, जिनके बिना मेरा परिवार अधूरा है, उनका भी, तथा और मेरे घर की बैकबोन अर्थात ही मेरी डॉटर इन लॉ अंशिमा सुराना, जिसके बगैर मैं अपने आप को पूरा नहीं समझ पाती, उसका भी आभार प्रकट करना चाहूँगी, जिन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम को यशस्वी बनाने में तथा सभी उपक्रमों में आपके इस उपक्रमों में मेरा साथ दिया। मैं आप सभी उपस्थित गण, आपके बिना ये प्रोग्राम पूरा ही नहीं हो सकता था। ऐसे उपस्थित एवं सहयोग से इस कार्यक्रम को यशस्वी बनाया व इन सभी का हृदय से आभार प्रकट करते हुए आगे भी हमारे सारे उपक्रमों में आपके इसी तरह के सहयोग एवं उपस्थिति की अपेक्षा करती हूँ। इस कार्यक्रम के समाप्ति की घोषणा करती हूँ और सभी का सुराना परिवार और क्वांटम फाउंडेशन की ओर से अनेक अनेक धन्यवाद। श्री शाहिदा जी अंसारी, जो कि समय पर पहुंची, मैंने उनका नाम लेना भूल गई हूँ, तथा उनका भी मैं आभार प्रकट करती हूँ। धन्यवाद। आज का कार्यक्रम यहीं समाप्त होता है। जय भारत, जय हिंद।
Thank you all for joining us. Have a great evening.